welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tiffany, and today I'm coming to you to show you guys how I do my lace closure sew-in. No glue, no gel, no mess, no stress, okay? It's very simple. I only have the needle and thread, and this is it. Lace. Y'all see a lace? Do y'all see a lace? I ain't see no lace. That's why I was asking. I was just making sure. But yeah, it's a lace, but if you like how it looks, stay tuned, you guys, and you can see how I did it. Y'all be blessed. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tiffany, and I'm going to show you guys how I sew down my lace closure with my sew-in. I have already done my sew-in, and this is just the leave out. And what you'll need is a pair of scissors, a hair clamp, maybe even a comb, your closure. Of course, you need some needle and thread, and some clips to hold your closure hairs out the way. Now, I've already worn my closure before. Let me grab it right quick. I have already worn this before, so it's already cut and everything like this. This is from the Janet collection, and I'll put everything in there. But I've already worn it before. It's almost time for a new one because I done poked so many holes in it. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one more try. And I have two separate needles because we're gonna sew one side and then sew the other, so it's much easier if you have two needles already thread instead of using the same one. So let's go ahead. Oops, my bad, y'all. So let's go ahead and move this out the way. And I have two duck clips trying to get it out the way. And of course, when you're sewing it down, you kind of want to measure. I put this on last just because it's easier for me, but you kind of want to measure from side to side and from the back to make sure that you have enough space for your closure, because you don't want to put your closure on top of tracks like that. It's gonna bulk you up. Okay, so I kind of do mine a little different from everyone else. I do what works for me, and it's much easier for me, so this is how I do it. But let's go ahead and get started. Got the one needle and thread here. Thread kind of long. I probably should have made it shorter because it's easier to work with, but oh well. Camera just as well as the mirror. But okay, so here goes your anchor braids. You want to put it above it, so we'll say like right here, because when you do it, it's going to slide back a little. Now, hopefully not that far back, but it's going to slide back some. So kind of always kind of go above where your braid is to make it easier, so you don't have to worry too much about the slide back. Okay, so let's see. Here is your part. Line you up. Right here is about good. Let's do it about right here. Here goes my anchor braid, so you have like that much past it. And you want it a little tight, not too tight, but tight enough to kind of stretch your closure out so that it's not so bulky. But okay, so what I do, start a little bit here, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm pulling it here, and I'm going to put my hand right here. That way it's keeping it tight on this side for me to pull. So hold on, y'all. Okay, so here guys, I'm just lining up my part, my natural part, with the part on the closure. And as you see, I did not start at the very beginning of my braids. Well, you'll soon see I didn't start at the very beginning of my braids. I had maybe an inch. I did maybe an inch before my braids. That way, if your closure slides back a little, you have a little leeway. That way, if it slides back a little, you don't have to start over because you left so much room out in the beginning. And you'll see, sorry that it's kind of hard to see, but you'll notice that I'm still starting on that first braid, even though the closure does not begin on the first braid. I'm still starting on that first braid, and then I'm going to work my way to the beginning of the closure with that same braid in that same spot. I'm just going to move the closure back some. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the other side. That's why it's important to have 2 needles. That way you don't have to stop midways, rethread your needle, or switch your needle over there. That's too much back and forth work. And I'm kind of trying to move it out the way so you guys can see. But if you notice, you seen that braid, you notice I put the closure way ahead of the braid. And I'm just in that same spot on that same braid, just putting the closure down. Okay, so once you have that tight enough on both sides, now you want to start working your array around the closure. And you still want to be gentle, not to pull too tight because your closure still can slide back. Now we're going to the other side. Anything you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. And actually, it becomes it becomes much easier to sew your closure down the more you do it. So this was easy to me because I've done it maybe 2 or 3 other times. But the first time, y'all, it was a challenge trying to get that closure to not be to the back of my scalp because it kept sliding. And that was me trying to do it other people's way. And I was like, I'm just going to try to start it from here and just keep moving the closure back instead of trying to sew it and the closure keeps going back. And that actually worked for me. And here we're just sewing until you get all the way to the back. Okay, so we already cut the thread off. And now you just want to comb your closure down so you can kind of see what you have going. And there I'm just saying, don't worry about it being bulky because I haven't put mousse on it. I haven't straightened it out or anything like that. But here what I'm doing, I'm looking for that top, I'm feeling for that first braid. And we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. You want to find that first braid because we're going to sew on that braid to make sure the closure doesn't fly back. And that's very important to make sure that you sew that down because there's no reason to have it secure on the sides, but your front still flapping, waving at everybody that walks by. And I'm starting from the bottom of the closure. I'm going to work my way up close to the part and go back down just for a secure sew. And also, when you're sewing down, I don't know if you can tell, but that hair that I'm holding on to at the beginning, I'm kind of pulling it down towards the ground. That way it kind of stretches it a little bit, and that way you don't have to worry about it. It's going to grow back regardless, but I feel like that helps it slow it. I feel like it helps slow down the process some because you're pulling it and you're sewing it, so it's like it's kind of locking it right there in that spot. And I'm literally just doing the same thing on the other side. Gonna sew from the bottom, go close to the part and sew back down. And I'm still holding that hair with a little tension. And there's not really a certain way I'm sewing on the braid. To be honest, I might be sewing under. I might sew it through it sometimes. As long as you're on that braid and your needle and thread is connected to that braid, you're pretty much good. And there you see I'm kind of double knotting it. And now we need to comb down and see what we've done. And you might see like kind of a little indentation where the thread is, but the more I comb it, eventually you won't see it at all. And here I'm just showing you guys what we got going. I was showing at the front. I didn't sew it at the very beginning, but as you see, it's still flat and secure. And you know, it's a good thing that you don't really sew, because a little side note trick, when your scalp is itching, because underneath that closure, I don't know about you guys, but my hair itches so bad right there. I can kind of lift it up a little bit and get it with the end of the comb and scratch it. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day.